Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers to another edition of the Pewter Report podcast, a special edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius. I'm John Ledyard from pewterreport.com. With me tonight on the Pewter Report podcast for this special All-22 Inside the Bucs Tape edition of the podcast is, of course, the one and only Paul Atwal, the only one that it could be to go behind the tape with me and tell you what went wrong and who is to blame for the Bucs offensive woes in this dismal 29-19 loss to Washington. Paul, I'm excited to have you on the show with me today because we're doing something a little bit different. We're looking at some All-22 on the show while we watch the tape and break some things down, and we're going to see how this goes. We haven't done this a whole lot, but I'm excited to look into the tape with you on this one.
Yeah, me too. I hope this works. We've been trying, or we tried for the first time weeks ago, early in the season. But yeah, I mean, if we can get this going, I think people will really enjoy it. It's so much fun to break down, actually legitimately finding out what's going on, not just, right, TV narratives or anything like that. Like, let's see the X's and O's.
Right, exactly. That's the biggest struggle I have, is that if everybody's coming out, oh, Brady this, oh, Arians this, the Bucs offensive system this, these two guys hate each other. We're just looking at what actually happened in the game. We're not going into this with any bias. We're going to take our knowledge of football and our knowledge of the Bucs offense, the scheme, Tom Brady, all the things that we know. We've also, I spent a lot of today talking to people who know, running through a couple of these plays with people who know even better than I do. And so we're just trying to bring you the information as best we can so that you can have the knowledge that I think the Bucs fans really want from something like this. So we're going to talk through all that today on the show, but it's all brought to you by our friends over at Celsius. Celsius powers active lives every day with essential functional energy. Telling you, it's the best energy drink out there. The taste is unbelievable. Sparkling strawberry guava is what I'm rocking today, but they get healthy energy, accelerates metabolism, burns body fat, no sugar, yet unbelievable taste, and a great variety of flavors. Check out Celsius. You can go use the banner ads at pewterreport.com to check out Celsius, or you can go to Celsius.com, use the store locator, find out where they sell them near you and pick the flavor that you want, or you can just go to Amazon. You can do the variety bundle and get a bunch of them sent to you on a regular basis. Do the subscribe and save option. You can even save money as you do it. Celsius, best energy drink out there. Really think you're going to love it. Check it out. Proud sponsors of the Pewter Report podcast for sure. I know we're going to have some comments in the chat today, and I know people are excited about this. We appreciate everybody that's excited about this. Smilegate thinks it's a clickbait title. I am not sure how a question can be a clickbait title. By definition, clickbait is something that doesn't give you what you want when you open it. I think we're going to answer the question if Brady is to blame, at least partially, for the Bucs offensive woes in this game. I'm not sure how that would be perceived as clickbait. But we're going to answer the question anyway, whether it's yes or no, or somewhat. Taryn says All-22, yes. And Mark says it looks cool. And so we appreciate everybody jumping in here. Obviously, Jacob shouting out the hard work and been listening to the pod for a few years. We appreciate you as well, Jacob. This is the first time we'll do something like this. And so bear with us as we do it. We do expect, because we think there some software upgrades will help, there will be a little bit of skipping. I'm actually going to just roll through it. I'm not going to hit play on a lot of these. I'm going to scroll through them, so kind of slow motion, so you can see a little bit clearer what we're looking at. So apologies if there are some skips on your end. If you're watching this for the first time, that is kind of how it's going to go a little bit on this. Preface it also by saying that we are not looking to blame anyone completely for what's happening in this game. Football is a team sport. There are players on the field. There are coaches on the sideline. They all have a hand in whether you play well or not during the games. So if we criticize a player for one play or 10 plays, they are not the only reason that this team lost this game. I've watched this whole offensive All-22. Paul has watched some of it, so he hasn't even seen all of it yet because he was at work today watching it on his lunch break, trying to get ready for this show for y'all. So we are kind of learning some things and talking through some things as we go today. But yeah, this is not going to be, one person is not to blame. We can tell you that much. One person is not to blame for this. This was a collective group effort. I would say the only players who played well offensively for the Bucs are Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith, and to a degree, Ryan Jensen. It was not a great day for Marpet or for Kappa. Mike Evans, I believe, played really well. Pro Football Focus does not believe played very well. They gave him a 59 grade. We'll talk about that as we go, because I I want people to see. I have a hard time figuring out how they gave him that grade. And Chris Godwin did what was asked of him, but overall, this was a game that left a lot to be desired for a lot of players on the offense. So here we go, Paul. We're going to start rolling through this thing, and we'll show everybody what we're looking at here. This is the first. Well, they had the penalty and then the run by Fournette. Today, we're going to look at passes that were not designed passes. So we're not going to look at the screens and the stuff that we know what's going on those plays. We're going to look at all the checkdowns, the deep throws, things like that. So about 27, 28 throws, maybe we'll look at if we can get through them on this tape. Some we'll take a little more time on, some we won't take as much time on. And that's how we'll roll through this. We're not looking at runs today either. So here's the first play of the game, first real pass of the game, first pass of the game, Paul. This is 2nd and 10, I believe, after the penalty and the 5-yard run by Fournette. And you could see Brady's immediately reading this 3-man route combination to the left. Well, he does take a peek. I guess he takes a peek at the right side to start things off, but he's looking over here. And we were a little bit skeptical of this play right off the bat, right? To us, like, this is, you hit OJ Howard in this void, right? Like, this is where the ball should go. Right now, that corner is sitting, and it doesn't look like he drops like a step, and maybe that's what Brady sees, and then he fires it to Tyler Johnson. But to me, it feels like the ball should go to OJ Howard in this situation right near the sticks.
Yeah. So, okay. So first of all, I just want to talk about real quickly, because it's going to come up, pick a side reads versus full field reads, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the play concept. Some plays you're only meant to ever read half the field. And with this particular play, the way it's designed, you can actually read the full field. And that's why you see Brady glance to the right.
Right.
He can't go the other way. Just the way that this one works, if he wants to read the whole field, he's going to glance there. I think he's probably reading number 23 at the bottom, seeing if he can get a quick on this Okie concept, if he can get a free little out route. He can't, so he moves away from it. Anyway, on the concept up top, against 2 high coverages, you're usually going to read this one inside out. So first you're going to start with, I'm not sure who that is on that sit route over that middle.
Might be Godwin.
Okay. So you would start there at number 3, and then you're going to work your way outside.
Yeah.
One thing that does happen, and this is in general a good skill for quarterbacks, is to know when to skip reads or to, like, whether it be at the beginning of the,
because you don't have to take the time. Yep.
Yeah, but this one I don't understand. To me, he should start there, but he doesn't even need to really read it. You can see it right away. It's not there because they're dropping.
They dropped a D tackle out. Yeah.
Yeah, they do this quite a bit in this game. They drop 8 so they can bracket the guy inside.
Yeah.
But OJ's open, so you got to hit that.
Yeah, I agree. This one was right away very puzzling for me. Yeah, like you said, you're reading inside out. OJ's clearly open. There's not a whole lot to read here. Like, this guy's not flying out. So, I mean, this is open and you hit, but instead he seems like he sees this corner drop a step and he throws quick to Tyler Johnson, but this guy's able to easily rally. And, you're hoping Johnson can make up a guy miss in space, but the better process is just to take the guy that's wide open, in my opinion, and further down the field. So that's the first play. We won't belabor some of these too long. You'll see me skip through these a little bit, but overall in the game, I did think that, this was kind of, the first half was just kind of a comedy of errors by everybody. There's more drops in the first half. There's more pass protection mistakes in the first half. Didn't like that one by Brady, but I think overall in the first half, I think the rest of the team's got to own some of these mistakes too. So here's Brady on this is 3rd down. This is the throw to Tyler Johnson that was incomplete. Tyler Johnson's number 2 here in the slot, and Chris Godwin's number 3 here closest. And you could see that this is where protection comes into it. Protection was a big part of this. You heard Bruce Arians, if you heard his press conference today, changed his tune a little bit, right? He wanted to throw Brady under the bus yesterday. I'm just kidding. I don't think he actually threw Brady under the bus. That's just national media overreacting. But he changed his tune a little bit, and he said, okay, the offensive line, didn't play very well, especially early in the game. And that was a big reason why we got in the hole that we did offensively. And he's absolutely right. This is a pretty clean win by John Allen against Sally Marpet. I mean, this is immediate. Brady's going to get belted. He doesn't have any chance to move. Not that he needs to here, move sides of the field or anything. I thought he made the right throw, made the right read. And honestly, it's a really good throw considering he's getting lit up as he releases this ball. That's as hard a hit as he's taken all season. Here's my big issue, Paul, and I'll let you sound off on it. Tyler Johnson struggled in this game. And one of the big reasons is he's not a great athlete. So you have to do all the little things right. You cannot afford to come out of your break slow. Here he is throwing up a hand way before the ball's even there, slowing down. You've got to come out of this with speed. He's reaching for the ball. It's not even there yet. You've got to keep running and run underneath this throw. He trying to one-hand it from the time he comes out of the break, basically. It's too slow. It's not what you need. NFL speeds. That's not how you operate. He's got his hand up here. You can see the ball's not even there yet. It's about halfway there, and he's already stretching for the ball. You need to run full speed, run through that catch, then turn upfield. Thought it was actually a pretty good throw and decision by Brady.
Yeah, for sure. Washington playing two-man coverage here, so the out route's going to be a good option against it. I know it might be kind of hard on my end. It is lagging a bit, so you might not be able to tell exactly what it looks like coming out of the break. But I've seen it on my computer.
Yeah,
he doesn't accelerate out of the break the way you need to. He's like, if he's doing this against zone coverage, he's going to get away with it. But against man, you have to be accelerating out of that break. Instead, he's slowing down out of that break. And I agree with you. I think the placement on this one is just right. But yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say about this. We already talked about Tyler Johnson and his overall poor separation. We talked about that on Thursday. We talked about it on Sunday. So yeah.
Yeah. And I see, and I'll check the chat periodically. Terrence Davis says, are we saying Brady gets hit once in the game, it's over? He might be addressing other commenters here. I just will preface by saying I don't think this is such an easy narrative to latch onto, and that's one of the most dangerous things that we can get into in the media. Is a lot of people don't understand the game, and so they attach themselves to easy narratives like Brady got hit once in the game, early in the game, by John Allen on the first drive, and so after that he was scared. Just think logically for a second. Like, even if you think that there's some semblance of truth to that, please just think logically with me for a second. Like, Brady has played 21, 22 years. I don't even remember at this point. It's been so long. Do you really think that in a 1:00 game against the Washington football team, a hit in the first drive of the game is just cooks him for the game? You know, I mean, I know Terrence is asking this facetiously, but I know people have said it realistically, and I know people have said it on Twitter, and I've seen media people write it. It's just crazy. Like, that is, even if there is some truth, we would never be able to prove it. And there's no logic for it, given this guy's career track record. We've got to dig a little harder and a little deeper for why things happen. It just, it's, I don't want to say lazy, because I'm not trying to disparage people's work ethic. I'm just saying it's so easy to attach yourself to a narrative like that when you think logically for a second. Like, can you prove that? Okay, no, obviously you can't. Is there a track record for it being true before this? No, there isn't.
There isn't, but people think there is.
Yeah, it's just absurd. I mean, he's been belted a couple other times this season too, and he's made some of his best throws while he's getting crushed last year. Some of his best. It's just silly. Like, it just is not the case. That's all that there is to it. You know, we are going to see some examples of plays where Brady, I think, could have made something happen down the field, but acting like he was scared. I mean, it's just, come on. Like, we can be better than that. This guy didn't get scared all of a sudden in like year 22 or whatever, like, of a regular season one. It just didn't happen, folks. Like, if you really want to believe that because it's easiest for you to believe, okay. But I'm just saying that that's just not what happened. There's things that we can talk about what actually happened, but we're never going to subscribe to the theory that Brady just got scared after one first quarter hit. I mean, it just wasn't, it just makes absolutely no sense. So, okay, you got the incompletion of Tyler Johnson there. We'll have a couple other examples actually in this game of what I thought Tyler Johnson did not do a good job of creating separation. PFF agreed with that. At least his grade was pretty low for this game per Pro Football Focus. And we'll talk pretty openly about times we agree and disagree. So here we go, second drive of the game. Play action. I like that, right? I don't love it as much out of 12 personnel, but they're keeping some guys in. Brady looks like he's check releasing here, trying to give a shot. Brady's got a good, clean pocket. Look at all the space Fournette has to work with ball. Not a hard one here for Brady, right? Like, look at the space he has to work with underneath. Washington drops out. This is a big catch and run, probably a first down. Great way to start the drive, and Fournette just drops it right off his chest. No doubt about it, drops it. So we don't need to go into a lot of depth there unless you had something you wanted to add there.
Nope. The action works.
Just straight. Yes, play action works. Yeah. You'll hear Paul and I say that a lot. The play action works. I mean, look at this. Tons of space. This is just I'm not sure how you drop that one, but it's
I mean, if we want to nitpick, I think Brady could have taken a bit of zip off that ball, but it hit him right in the chest. And it wasn't like a bullet, but whatever.
Yeah, I know people say that sometimes, but man, it's the NFL. Like that's all I feel anyway.
You
But
catch
I
a
know
ball
what
in
you're
front of a
saying.
jugs machine, you can catch that.
Yeah, right. Like that's right. I see these guys stand right in front of a jugs machine every single day, belting it. You got to catch the ball. And I know he wants to get it to people quickly too. Here's the throw to Darden. Very next play, underneath, boom. Darden makes the catch. We obviously know what happened after this, but talk to me about the play, Paul. What did you see on this play? It was pretty quick to Darden here. Obviously, there's no pressure on this play. Did you feel like there was somewhere else maybe could have gone with football, or did you like this process by Brady?
No, I like it a lot. So I think this looks like cover 3 to me. So he's got the other receiver, Evans. He's stretching this outside corner up. You just want to attack these flats, like this quick underneath area against cover 3, kind of towards the outside where Darden is, or even further out. Like another thing you could do is you could send Evans on a go route and then just Darden on a flat route. You can take that out. But basically, this is the area you want to attack. This is a good read, good play, good design.
Yeah. And he gets you halfway to the first down yardage, maybe more if he can break this tackle and get upfield. But yeah, so it's good read. I agree with you completely. You're taking what's there immediately. Everything even to the other side of the field, I think, is not what you want it to be. Cover 3 corner is kind of eyeing Cam Brate, but he doesn't need to even get there. And we talk about this a little bit too, because what he wants is open, and so he hits it. And again, it's just
one more thing on this play, John. I think this is a good example of the pick aside thing. Right. So again, this is another pick aside play. Pre-snap, Brady has to decide: am I going on up top or am I coming down? He's not going to go from down over to the left side unless he sees the safety rotate. Because just look at this concept. The one at the bottom, this is designed to be a single high safety coverage. The one up top is designed to be 2 high safety coverage. So what does Brady do pre-snap? Okay, so 1 safety, 2 safety. As soon as he takes the snap, did the safeties rotate? No. Okay, I'm sticking with what I initially thought. I'm going to go down here. That's how this works.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, we'll keep moving. Darden obviously screwed that one up, and so that's turnover. Second round. So you have what we would say Brady, one bad read to start the game, then first down throw to Tyler Johnson, poor route, we would say there, and then second drive, Darden's mistake to turnover. So that's how both of those drives end. Just to give you an example, we see a run by Lenny here. We won't do the runs just for the sake of time, trying to get through and look at some of these passes. Here's Brady motions Fournette out of the backfield on second down and I think 5 maybe. So this is a quick one right away. Godwin, we don't need to look at that one too much.
Yeah, that's a designed screen, I think.
Right. We're trying to skip the design throws if we can for the sake of time. For this one. So then they get into short yardage situation. Leonard Fournette gets rocked. Ali Marpet did not have a great block on that play. Linebacker shot the gap too, which made things tough. Cole Holcomb played great for Washington. I don't know if there's any UNC fans out there, but Cole Holcomb, he had the game of his life in this game. I know he hasn't graded well for PFF, but he had the game of his life.
I know we're doing. I just glanced over at my TV, and Stafford just threw the worst interception I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
So good news for Bucs fans early.
Are they winning, or is
it's 0-0?
0-0.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Brady takes a snap. This is 1st and 10, I believe. Takes a snap here, and there's protected with 5, and you see Marpet already getting worked back a little bit here. And John Allen is coming. So he's got to get this ball out. Immediately what Brady sees here, and I'll let you take over because you have a lot of thoughts in this play now. But Evans, linebacker dropping out, linebacker's heads turn, Evan coming across the middle of the field. This area he's throwing to with great anticipation. He believes Evans will beat this coverage and be in this space where he's throwing it to, and releases the ball. And I think it's just a long throw. I don't know how much more there is to it, but I'm curious what you saw too.
Yeah, so it's just.
By the way, this isn't skipping. By the way, just so people know, I'm not actually playing the play. I'm kind of like gliding through it, like in a fast forward mode, so people can see it like frame by frame, basically. Just so you know.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the throw is bad and the decision is good, which is weird because on the TV broadcast, the way the ball came out and it looked, I was like, what is he even seeing there? But I think you nailed it, John. You're talking about his anticipation right here. Mm-hmm. If you go back a little bit just to the moment where he decides to throw, John.
Yeah.
You'll see like this.
Basically right here.
right here. Like this is what makes him so good, is the fact that he can see this. Like he doesn't need to see a guy open to throw it to him. He's done this this year. He's done his whole career, and it's such an amazing asset. But the problem is, I think he just screws up on his mechanics, and you can see it easier from the end zone angle. This is something I really haven't seen much from Brady at all. Is he has such clean and consistent mechanics, but what I see is during his load phase, as he's bringing the ball back, right here he hesitates at this moment, and then he decides to bring it back up. At that point, he's lost all momentum on his actual throwing motion, and there's just no zip on that ball. That's why it comes out as like a soft lob. But what he's trying to do is he's thinking, okay, Evans can beat this linebacker horizontally, and you'll see by the time the ball actually gets there, Evans is open. So he was right in that way. And he's thinking, okay, there's no one that's going to drive down and smoke him. This safety's too far away. I can put it high in front. But instead, as soon as he double clutches it during his throw, he loses all that power, and that goes all out the window. And it ends up as a terrible throw.
Yeah, I agree. It's an overthrow for sure. I did wonder watching live how much this contact from Cole Holcomb at the top of the route disrupted Evans, and I don't see from that play that Evans throws up his hand here, and I know he talked to the official after, I believe, but he didn't mention after the game. I don't think that was enough to really account for throwing this one off, in my opinion. There's a couple other times I'll show you later in this game where Evans has legitimate gripes. This dude cannot get a call. You can also see Brady's dealing with the pressure here right in his face. Again, Marpet, not a great first half, especially for Marpet. But still no excuse for this one. I think like this is still an overthrown ball. This angle kind of gives it to you, and you see the safety doesn't even jump it so much as the ball just gets past Evans, so he doesn't come in and grab it there. But
it's too bad that it's too bad that it's kind of glitchy like this, because it's hard to see what I'm talking about with the mechanics. But like I agree. It's purely on Brady. Like Evans runs a really good route. He's getting open. It's a good decision, but just
I can pause it. I wasn't looking at his mechanics, but I can pause it wherever you want it to pause. Probably hard.
It's just hard. Like if just press play, like right here, that at that part where he's back, it's hard to tell when you're going like this. But this is where he hesitates for a second, and he loses all that momentum. Yeah, and just really.
Oh right, I got you. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like a clean snapping throwing motion because there was that hesitation.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because he saw that safety driving, and I don't know. It's interesting. But anyway, definitely a throw that we would say was not a good throw by Brady.
But
although I disagree, especially as we get into this game with some of his decisions in terms of that he was making bad decisions with the football, just in terms of he could have made better decisions with the football as we get later into this game. He was not very inaccurate in this game. I think the Bucs had 5 drops and he only had 11 incompletions total. So this was not a very, 2 were throwaways. So he was not very inaccurate in this game. That was not an issue so much, but it was on that interception. So it was interesting.
For sure.
Sometimes when it rains, it storms, or when it rains, it pours. Here's Brady from empty. Then on the next drive, I'll let you talk about what you saw maybe on this play here. This was the one, I think, where he goes to Darden down the sidelines. We talked about this a little bit. This was the 29-yard gain that started their 3rd drive of the game. Brady kind of pumps. It's kind of like a shoulder fake, really. Here draws both safeties in. Right, could hit Tyler Johnson or Jalen Darden, in my opinion, for a score here. What did you see on this one? Because I know I had some thoughts, but I want you to go first.
Yeah, so this is the famous Haas juke play that Brady has run forever. The Bucs run it a lot. The one difference that they've made here is in the number ones, that being the outside receivers on each side, Darden and Tyler Johnson. Instead of having the 5-yard hitches that you would normally have on Haas juke, they have hitch and goes, selling that hitch. And then Washington is playing a cover 2 zone. So the first thing, a couple things here. First thing that you would look for against a 2-high zone coverage on Haas juke is this number 3 receiver, and that's Godwin, because he's going to be one-on-one and he can juke out that linebacker in a zone. But what Washington does again, and I talked about this earlier in this game as well, is they drop 8, only sending 3. So then they're able to bracket that guy over the middle. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do that without having a single high safety. You would need to have 1 high safety in order to bracket this guy over the middle. But instead, because they're dropping 8, they can play 2 high and they can bracket over the middle. But because it is cover 2, these corners stay in this cloud area and you get this hole shot. That's what this is called. It's the area between the safety and the corner.
Yep.
So that hitch and go sells it. You get space here. The only thing, John, that I think I don't even I know you feel that Darden should have kept running, and to me, it's not completely clear. But go ahead.
Yeah. So here's what I say by that. I don't mean that he should keep running at full speed, like just keep going running down the sideline at full speed. But he actually stops, turns his whole body back toward the quarterback here and loses all upfield momentum. Basically, he's kind of jumping in place saying, I'm open, I'm open. You could see Tyler Johnson here. He slows his stride, which is what you're supposed to do, especially if the safety were looming. It would make even more sense. But the safeties, both of them pinch in. Neither safety is even facing the receivers at the point of the time where Brady's really, like, you can see the safety. His hips are toward the middle of the field here. Darden, with probably more experience, may realize that and realize he's got space he can occupy here. If the safety were out here and this was actually going to be a real, true, tough hole shot, with that safety really playing over the top of his route, then yeah, he would be okay to even stop. Maybe not as much as he does, and come back here. But in this situation, because there's literally nothing out here, this makes the throw just difficult for Brady because he doesn't know where Darden is going to be or how stopped Darden is going to be when he releases this. So it ends up, you can see Darden here. I'm open. I'm open. And Tyler Johnson does a better job here, slows his stride and throws his hand up. But Brady's obviously not going to pass up a wide open dude down the field to come back to Tyler Johnson. So he's making the right read and everything here. But you can see Darden is kind of completely stopped, turned back toward the pocket here. And now he starts to accelerate again up the field. So how far is he going to accelerate? How fast is he going to accelerate? It makes it more of a difficult throw to judge rather than if he just continued upfield. So Brady throws it to him. And at that point in time, obviously it's an accurate throw, but if Darden had been able to kind of throw his hand up as Tyler Johnson does down here and just kind of continue working down the field, it would have been easier for Brady to judge his stride and hit him in stride. Because he doesn't, it's still a big play, but it's probably a touchdown if it's a better route and if it's just a little more of an experience. I'm not even hating on Darden for it. It's just an experience thing. Like, I think it's just something that would, it's reality. You're in this situation, look what the Bucs are doing. Like, Godwin and Evans are inside in this situation. They know who's outside. They know what they're trying to get out of this play and what they could potentially get out of this play with what Washington's shown them. And they know they're going to have, this would normally be Antonio Brown and Tyler Johnson out here with this 4 receiver look. And it's not in this situation. So just little things I'd say could have been better from, still 29-yard gain, still a great play. Obviously pretty easy one for Darden, but he makes the catch, tries to make a guy miss. Like, things to appreciate for sure. I just think those little things, you could see Tyler Johnson at the bottom of the screen, even with one more year of experience, just do it a little bit better, I felt like.
Yeah, after understanding better what you meant, I do agree with you.
Yeah, not full speed, though. This wasn't like a go route where you're just trying to run as fast as you can down the field. Not that type of situation. So that's why I understood why he slowed, but I just think he get a little bit better at how to do that. Some people are upset that we're trying to teach Brady how to throw. I mean, Harvinder, here's what I would tell you. Like, if you are coming to this not expecting us to critique people, including Tom Brady, you're just probably in the wrong spot. Like, this is what we do. We've studied players. We've studied tape. We aren't saying we're smarter than Brady, but we can tell when something was off about a throw. And Brady can also tell it when he goes back and looks at the tape. So
I think he has the best mechanics ever. I would never. I think he has flawless mechanics. But if you, Harvinder, if you go back, just watch the highlights, I think you'll see it on the TV copy as well. He does hesitate and he loses all that power there. But that's not critiquing. Yeah. That's not like critiquing how he throws. He has the best mechanics ever.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but reality is reality, and he would be the first to tell you when something's off on a throw. Like, he's not every single throw he's ever had, is perfect mechanics. So Norman with the $5 super chat, really appreciate that, Norman. He says, I think the receivers have too many option routes. Brady likes to get the ball out quick. We'll talk about some option routes as we go here. I mean, I don't know if it's too many, but it is a tricky thing when you have younger players playing. There's just that element to it. I think that, reading things, right? It's a lot of options routes in this offense, and reading things sometimes can be tricky. Well, I didn't think it was a huge issue in this game per se. So 29-yard gain, going to go to Lenny on the ground. Lenny got outside. Clear face mask, by the way. Going to point out some officiating errors just because the Bucs are still the team to benefit less from penalties than any other team in the league. There was a face mask on Fournette out here. Didn't get called. It's okay. We move on. No big deal. Here's a rather run by Fournette. This is actually, the Bucs actually ran the ball kind of well at the beginning of this game. Just sucks. The defense was so bad. The turnovers hurt that they couldn't keep doing it, because they actually, again, the difference in concepts, and I'm just kind of excited. I'm geeking out a little bit over the changes in the run game that have been made. Here's Brady from the gun now. I think this one's a pass, I believe. Let's walk through it real quick because I can't remember which play it is. Oh yeah, this is the 3-man. We spent a lot of time talking about this play. Talk to you. You have thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I commented on a Reddit thread about this same play as well. So, and this is why I'm glad that that I mentioned the pick a side thing, because this is exactly what this is. So this is pre-snap pick a side. Like, this is not a full field read. You're not meant to go from left to right or right to left on this type of, just the way the design works.
Right.
So for whatever reason it is, Brady decides pre-snap that he likes to look up top better with that concept. So he's not checking this down like right away. Fournette is his third read on this. This is already number 3. You can tell by kind of like, I guess he can tell by the way that these routes are developing that he doesn't like that look with that linebacker over top to OJ. So he gets the ball out quick. It's unfortunate when you look back at it and you're like, oh shit, if he did look at the other side, this would have been a huge gain. But you got to judge it from an actual process standpoint. Like, there's no realistic way for him to read this way and then go to that. Yeah, like maybe, but it's just not the way it's kind of meant to be run this play. So and also the other thing is that you can't expect. I don't know who this is. This corner. I think Mark Schofield mentioned this to you. Like, you expect this guy to carry vertical a little bit. Like, even if they're not matching, that corner is usually going to stay back a little bit, and then that free safety would pick up Evans. Instead, this corner just lets Evans go right by him. Right. You can't anticipate a defender just blowing a coverage that way, right? So
that's what Mark said. I asked him about this. I was like, man, I'd love to see him just work backside, because nothing's really that open front side. Like, he's got this guy dropping out with Braid. Obviously, Howard's coming into the middle of the field. This defender's kind of all covering him, and so Fournette's obviously the right read when you're reading out this 3-man concept. But I was like, man, couldn't he work with pretty decent time? Couldn't he work back over here? And Mark said, yeah, you're just not expecting this defender to totally leave and not carry at all. So you're thinking, okay, you're probably covered up over here. The only way you'd work there is, like you said, you're reading out this 3-man combination first. And as long as you have an option in it, you're hitting it. That's just quarterback play, though. And that's one of the most dangerous things about, I saw people were at the game actually tweeting out this play. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to actually see it from an angle where I can see something other than Mike Evans running down the field. And so now you see it and you kind of understand. Now, there are plays later in the game that we will get to, where I believe Brady should have taken something within his progression that was further down the field, and he didn't. And those were plays more that I would spend some time harping on. But this one, it's kind of like sucks when you go back and look at it, and maybe you change something else you do for the next time around. But on this exact play, there's no way anybody would knock him for not going backside on this play.
And you should think about like what that would mean. That would mean he's giving up an open receiver, which Fournette gets a decent gain here. Like, you should
8 yards.
That would be horrible process if he were like, this guy's open, but let me go look over there. Maybe this guy's open down the field. Like, that'd be really bad process.
Right. Exactly right. This is one of those things where, you have to understand quarterback play a little bit to be able to critique some of these things. And you have to understand how reads and progressions work to be able to critique some of these things. Quarterbacks do not have 10 pairs of eyes. They cannot see all 5 moving pieces at once on the field, and nor are they even taught to or supposed to on a lot of these concepts. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. People think that it's Madden. It's not Madden. It doesn't work that way in real life, because decisions have to be made quickly, or nobody ends up open and you end up eating the ball for a sack. It's just football 101, to be honest. And so that's helpful in terms of understanding that play. I think, and why Brady did what he did on that play. We'll show you in a little bit what it looks like when it's there in the progression and he still passed it up, where we felt like it was questionable. We'll show you that a little bit later in the game. Here's a run for Fournette. We'll skip past this one.
It's actually funny.
First and 10 now.
You can see like the video. This is 29 minutes long. I'm 21 minutes in on my own watch, and I haven't gotten to the plays that you sent me though. So far, all I've seen, I'm like, yeah, Brady looks pretty good. And then the ones that you sent me, it's like, oh no, like, where does it fall apart?
Yeah. Well, I think in the second half, that's the thing. The first half, again, there's like 4 or 5 drops, penalties. 1 drop turn and interception. It was Brady had 1 or 2 bad plays, I would say, in the first half, but the second half I thought things were actually not as good, even though they put some.
Which is so weird, because his numbers are amazing in the second half and terrible in the first half.
Right. But it just shows you how deceiving the box score can be, I think.
That's right.
Here's Brady. This was one of his best throws of the day. I know some people did not understand this throw, probably because it was incomplete. It's funny. They understand it the two other times this exact throw and the same concept has happened this season because Godwin's caught both of them. It's amazing how results-based we are in the things that we think in our analysis of certain plays. Some people thought this was low by accident. This is exactly where the throw should be, low and away to Godwin. It's exactly where he expects it. If you watch it, I should have pulled up the tape from the other two games this season where Brady has thrown this exact ball, same route to Godwin. And it's all, this is how they practice it. This is how they draw it up. You want to put it down here. You don't want the DB to have a chance to drive on it, make a play through the catch point. Also, you want to put it in a place that protects Godwin's body. Godwin just doesn't catch the ball. I mean, it goes right through both arms. The TV copy actually showed, the replay showed it clearly. Goes right through both arms. Obviously kicked off his heel, almost was a pick. Which would have been unlucky, but this just needs to be caught. PFF gave him a drop on this one. I obviously completely agree. This ball's where it should be. It's where you want it to be, low and away. Brady actually is one of the best ever at putting the ball low and away to protect receivers. He's probably the best ever at that.
Just go right back, John, just before he hits the ground, right as the ball is about to look right there. If Brady puts that any further ahead, Godwin's getting like his head taken off.
Right.
Yep. Like if he puts that just a bit ahead, like he's getting smoked. I'm not gonna rip on Godwin for not making this catch. It's obviously very difficult, but like you said, they practice this. They do this a ton. It's by the way, and just you can see actually, run this end zone angle. Watch Brady's eyes. He gets from his first read to his second read being Godwin, so quick and it's so decisive. And he knows, like he sees it right away in the coverage and he puts it in the perfect spot. It's awesome anticipation, great placement. You see right there, he starts on Tyler Johnson, moves that defender just a little bit, and then rips it right to Godwin. And that's not a tight window. Like if you go back, if that's not an open window, like if you go back to the wide shot, and if you're just running that play, you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, throw it to Godwin there. Like that's really high level stuff where the quarterback and the receiver can be like, hey, we know this is actually covered, but we're that good that we can get a catch here anyway. Just happened to not work out. But I thought it was an incredible throw.
Yep, one of his better throws of the day for sure. Here we go. Brady. Oh, yeah, this is a quick one to Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, Haas juke again. This time they do run the hitches and because the corners are playing off. And I don't know if they rush. They did rush 4, so he could have gone to Godwin again if he wanted to. But the way they teach this, at least I think the way they did in New England, based off of Bill O'Brien's clinic, is if that corner is off like that, take the free yards every single time. Like just that's it. You're not thinking about anything else. Like because it's 5 yards just from the catch alone. And then if anything after the catch, it's even more. So corners playing off, that hitch is basically an alert, becomes a part of the progression, hit it, move on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not a whole lot to take away from this play. I mean, it was clearly kind of where they wanted to go with the football there. Again, some of the concepts, some of the call, anyway, I mean, we'll get to more of that later, but it's not necessarily.
I want to point out, John, that I do really like here. I've criticized the Bucs a lot for on this type of play or on this specific play. Even you see where Godwin's lining up that number 3 spot.
Right.
So often I've seen them put a tight end there, Cameron Brate, Gronkowski, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of running this play against too high. Because like I mentioned, against too high, that number 3 player on that juke route, he's going to be one-on-one against a linebacker oftentimes. But if that's a tight end, that's not really an advantage anymore, right? You want your quick, fast guy who's going to be way too quick for the linebacker there. Yep. So it's nice to see in this game that number 3 was Godwin or another receiver, like every single time, I think.
For sure. Yeah, that was a couple times in this game for sure. And I think even when Gronk comes back, isolating Gronk on one side of the formation and using 3 receivers to the other side, especially when Antonio Brown's one of those 3 receivers, is going to be where the Bucs going to have to live, especially if they're going to face some of these defenses that they've been facing, where they're dropping out cover 2, cover 4, and they're playing depth a lot. Being able to isolate Gronk on one side of the field and really just work that 3-man combination with 3 of the best receivers in the NFL is going to pay dividends, I think, if they can get to it consistently. So, okay, so let's look at this one. What are your thoughts on this play? This is quick. Fournette. I get what they're trying to do, right? Corner turns his back. He's running with Evans here, like down the field, and he's trying to get Fournette outflank this guy and see if he can take it get into the pylon here. I understand the idea. I just don't think Fournette's a great player for the play. Like he's just not fast.
Well, I think they only had 2 yards to go, so they were just trying to pick up the first down, which they do, right?
Yeah, for sure. He does outflank him for the first down, and so in that situation, maybe I guess it's like it's okay. But overall, like to me, like I just feel like it's third down. Giovanni Bernard's just way faster. Like,
I see what you're saying. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, like I just wish there was a better player in this position. Like
Gotcha.
I know Fournette's played well, and maybe they're thinking he's more likely to break a tackle out here, fall forward for I don't know. It just again, I just wish Bernard was used more. But then as when Bernard got in this game, he didn't back me up in that at all, as we're about to see. He did not back me up in that at all, Paul. He has not had my back this season in my defensive, other than his rushes.
Right.
Okay, so we're coming up on I think we got a Fournette run here. Great. Awesome. Waste first down. Good. All right, let's look at second down here. Second down. Okay, here we go. Now the people are gonna have some gripes maybe on one or two of these. We'll talk them through it. This was second down. Okay, this play. First of all, I love wheel routes. I don't really like them this close to the end zone. I just think they're too easy to cover. I mean, I think you have to have a special back to do this. And Bernard's good. I don't know. To me, I just don't love the idea. You run out of real estate, right? Like I'd like a running back on an edge defender or a linebacker down the field, but in this small of a space, it's just easy. And you could see the linebacker has it capped the whole way. Brady's got to throw it back shoulder, right? And it's too low. The throw is not good. Even if the throw is better, it might be caught. It's not going to be a touchdown. And it's still going to be a tough catch for a running back. So
yeah,
that's my gripe with the concept. You talk about what you saw in this play, maybe a little bit.
Pretty similarly, I think it's a good decision by Brady. Like he doesn't have time to work back to the backside. He's about to.
You can see Kappa get beat. Yeah, Kappa gets beat, so there's no time to work backside.
And I think his idea. I think the thinking is good. Put it back shoulder. I agree that it's not a good throw.
Not a good throw.
Up top, it's frustrating when you do see Godwin and Evans open for a touchdown. But like you and I talked about in the text, like this isn't really a concept reason that they got open. It's more so like the defender kind of just fell down, right? Like what happened?
They ran into each other.
Right.
Look, you can see them. They're hugging at the top of the screen.
Because when I look at this pre-snap, John, if you just go back a little bit, first of all, by the way, I openly admit I'm not great with red zone coverages. So it's a bit tricky to me. But to me, it looks like this guy right on the goal line, this safety, I can't see what number he is. To me, it looks like he's about to drop into the end zone, which would mean he's taking away any in-breaking routes to the right. This guy, that guy. Yeah. So when I'm looking pre-snap, to me, it looks like he's dropping back, which would make it so he's taking away both in-breakers. But instead, he drops down a little or stays where he is, which I didn't expect. I don't know what Brady thought was going to happen. But if he thought that that's what that defender is going to do, then it makes sense not to work that side. And you certainly don't expect these guys to just do that.
I mean, but I don't even, what happened? This is just a malfunction. Like this guy is looking at an outbreaking route that never even happens. Like,
well, it's a good release by Evans. It's
it is a great release.
Stack formation, and then Evans is creating like a natural pick. He might have even, I mean, some refs might even call that OPI. It wouldn't be a very good call, but anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you on this. I don't think it's realistic. I think my one gripe with this, Paul, is that I just think the wheel route's kind of dead early. Like this guy gets out and pushes him upfield. Already you don't have the angle you want. He's flying out. You can see the bracket here for Braid, and Howard is working here so you can bypass, you're obviously he's looking here first. But I wish I don't think it's even here. And I know he doesn't have a ton of time to come back because Kappa's being bulldozed into his lap here. And it happens in a split second, but I just almost would have dismissed the wheel route pretty quickly. Once I saw him chipped and once I saw this guy over, I would have tried to get back over here immediately. And then you're probably going to have to make a throw as you're getting hit, but that's what I would have done in the play. I know that it's not how it's drawn up, but that to me, it was just that clear to me that the wheel route was dead. Yeah.
I mean, always easier with a clicker, but I think what you're saying makes perfect sense. Like, you're right. He does look horizontally capped if you want to think about it in Doug Maddox terminology. And that's what we talked about earlier, right? Skipping reads. I actually think I didn't see it that way the first time, but I think you're right. As soon as he sees that right after the snap, you could definitely make a case for him that he should just immediately go backside.
Right. Because Kappa gets beat and it's not pretty, but It is a little bit like Ioannidis ain't no speed rusher here, number 98 for Washington. So I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's pretty, but yeah, I just would have liked to see him give up on that wheel sooner. I think he felt like he could still fit it in back shoulder and get to the goal line. I'm not saying it's the worst process ever. I just think that's one where, as opposed to the other one where we saw Evans open. Well, that one, his 3-man concept, it's open. Like that's 8 yards on first down. Nobody's passing that up. Like that's how everybody's reading that out. But this one, I felt like it just wasn't there. And I would have liked to see him just kind of quickly move on and go to something else in the situation.
Yeah. I think that's a really good observation.
That's what I would say. That's my 2 cents. Not trying to teach Brady how to throw. Okay, here's the Godwin drop. This is a fast throw by Brady. I mean, you're not going to be able to tell from the All-22 probably. But it's a fast throw by Brady. But again, I'm just, this is right in your chest, buddy. Like, and you wanted to get it to him fast too, because you need him to be able to turn upfield and take advantage of the space. They're trying to get him in here. If he can do his patented Bernard leap into the end zone, he can maybe turn up and get in here. How he saw him, score 2 other touchdowns this season. At the very least, he gets down to the 1, right? And they've got a 4th and inches situation, 4th and 1 situation. That's like worst case scenario if he catches this clean, is that he gets to the 1 yard line. Drops it, and it's a field goal instead of a touchdown, probably. I mean,
I haven't looked at the chat, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting killed for that last play. And I do want to just point out, when the stuff that we're saying about that Geo wheel route, and I think you'll agree, that's kind of nitpicking in the sense that when you watch the tape normally, especially after a win, that's not the type of stuff that you're looking at and being like, he should have done this instead, right? Like this is more like, it's kind of like a wash. The actual mistakes that come up later, then those are worthy. But this is the type of stuff that I don't even think the coaches are going to be like, you should have done this.
Like, right. Yeah, important to know the difference there, I think. Some things are wrong. Some things just
could have been better.
Could have been better maybe. And a lot of those things, the decision won't be able to even be seen after the tape. Like, it looks great because those Washington guys totally misplayed it. You know what I mean? And ran into each other. And, it looks great now. But, if they played even half decently, it's not like he passed up something he knew was going to be open. And he knew that what was going on backside. I get why he's trying to do what he did. And Bucs 97-55 is exactly right here. I'm criticizing the decision. And again, he's literally has to make this decision in 1.5 seconds. Yeah. It's just tough.
That's why exactly. If I were grading this, I wouldn't give him a negative grade for that play by any means whatsoever. That type of play happens even in blowout wins when you have the best game of your life. You'll have stuff where you can go frame by frame and be like, oh, he should have done this.
Yeah. Right. So again, we're just trying to give you an idea of what they're probably, we're trying to answer your questions, but that play definitely understandable. I just think I'd like to see him move off the wheel route. Personally. Okay. So we know why I didn't get the touchdown on that drive that they should have. Again, there's been 4 drops. There's been a drop that turned into an interception. There were a couple penalties. Here's Tristan Wirfs jumping off sides on this drive. So you're already starting 1st and 15 and quick one to Godwin, middle of the field. Anything on this one? I mean, I don't really think there's anything to say here. Clearly just trying to get the ball out, get the penalty yardage back, right? Getting the 2nd and 9.
I think this is that last drive before the half, right? The 2-minute drive.
I think you're right. I think that's right. Yeah. Field goal. Yeah. This is the drive. This is the 58 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So you get the penalty to start things off. Not great.
Yeah. So again, this is a concept where the bottom there, the 2-man concept is meant to be a single high beating concept. The 3 side, this is a 2 high beating concept. They're playing 2 high. He works there. Just Godwin underneath over the middle, quick pass, keep moving.
Right. I would like to point out this OPI by Evans down the field here. Bulldozes Kendall Fuller, sends him flying at the bottom of the screen. Great stuff. Mike Evans played really well, I think. And, what's weird is that he isn't, you notice on some of these concepts that we've already talked about, he's not the primary read. He's not even to the primary read side of the field in some of these, which I get it. They just expect Washington to double him all the time, but people can see if they're watching this, that he's not doubled a lot of the time and he's has single coverage. And I felt like maybe they could have used him more on the primary side of some of these reads in the first half. And they really didn't, right? A lot of this stuff he's backside of where, they're starting the progression.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. They did. The one thing they tried doing is moving him inside, which we've talked about before. Right. They tend to do against 2 high teams or teams that are playing 2 high against them. It's interesting. I'll keep an eye out for that because I know you said that earlier, that you felt that he wasn't the primary read very often, just in terms of where he was put, which route he was running.
We've already seen that, right? We saw that on the 8-yard throw to Fournette. We saw it on the wheel. He's backsided with the wheel.
He is actually the primary target on this play right here. It's a slow developing one. So in the meantime, actually, this I really like just basically this is kind of like a dagger concept.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is dagger, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in terms of more specifically what they're trying to do, this is similar to what I talked about, I think on Thursday that they did against the Rams, where against these two high teams, they're trying to stretch one side of the field vertically and then send a guy underneath from the other side. Yeah. And it doesn't work as well against Washington because they don't match. But say, for example, the Rams, what they did, they have their inside corners match up the field. So what the Bucs would do is they would put 3 receivers at the bottom, send them all vertical, and then those zone defenders, instead of, you see how the Washington zone defenders, they can stay in their area. Instead of doing that, the Rams ones, they follow up the field and then think about how much more open Tyler Johnson would even be then, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it still works here against spot dropping pretty well. Again, just being patient against too high. This is good.
Right. This is good play. Again, you remember you're on 2nd and 9 here, so he gets right to the marker pretty much, puts you in a 3rd manageable. They're trying to go fast here. Keep that in mind. Right read, right throw, hit him in stride, good placement. He's able to turn upfield, get basically to the marker there. I think it's 3rd and 1.5 here. Okay, it's going to get. This is the Cam Brady play, I believe. To me, this is where I start to get frustrated. There's a couple officiating clear errors to me. Oh, not this play. Sorry, the next one. But here you've got they're creating this kind of natural rub with Brate and Godwin. Godwin break into the middle of the field here. Brate kind of falls down, but does exactly what it's designed to do. Gets Godwin open. Love the concept, middle of the field.
Brady looks like he actually audibles this pre-snap. He gives some sort of hand signal to a pre-snap to Godwin and Brate, changing their routes.
Good eye. I did not see that.
Yeah, if you go back, you'll see it. He's clearly giving some sort of hand signal to them.
Yep.
First, he does right after this.
Yeah,
this is just a protection thing.
Yep.
Anyway, he sees that they're in man, which they were in zone this whole drive before. Okay, they're in man. Let me switch it to this rub, like you talked about.
I'm going very slow. I don't want to miss it. All right, gets the snap, and then you're right.
Yeah. Anyway, so Brate, just that rub right there, Godwin underneath. Nice play.
Nice play. Yep. And although we are looking at, kind of who's to blame for the offensive miscues, we're also looking beyond that and just pointing out some cool stuff too when we see it. So I appreciate you pointing that out. That's a good call there.
You'll see it here.
You can see it from the other view. You can see him point. Yep. He's pointing it all out. Yeah. Very good call. Right on the money. Okay. And the next play, I just feel like this is frustrating, and they end up getting a field goal out of it anyway. So it ends up not mattering. And it was kind of a ball don't lie situation to me, because I just don't feel like, again, maybe not this next play. Sorry. This next play, Jonathan Allen beats Ali Marpet again. Brady is throwing quick here to Fournette, or to Godwin or Bernard to get this ball out, because obviously a sack would pretty much cook him at this point.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything else to say about this play. Marpet can't get beaten 1 second. Let's put it that way. So the next play then is the Cam Brate one. And this is where it gets a little bit frustrating. There's a couple times Cam Brate definitely should have gotten a call, I felt like, and didn't get one. This was clearly grabbing a guy way down the field at the top of his route. It just should be obvious. You can't do that. It's just against the rules, man. It's hard. They just haven't gotten this call all year. It's bizarre. It just makes no sense, but you just can't check a guy in the middle of the field, and it throws off obviously the whole route, and then Brate can't get to the ball. Brate's upset after the play. He's turning to the official. What are you doing? What are you looking at? How do you not call this? He's literally knocked off balance, and the safety actually falls down, grabbing and hanging on to him. It's just frustrating. This should be an easy call. Mike Evans is, what are you doing? He's pissed. This is the kind of stuff. This puts the ball at the 30-yard line. You've probably got a shot or two for the end zone, maybe. Obviously, they came away with the field goal anyway, so it didn't have matter, and thanks to the face mask. But this was frustrating to me. By the way, look at Marpet and Donovan Smith over here. Just absolute murder on this side of the field. Marpet and Allen had some battles, but this one was definitely won by the Bucs.
Obviously this was a perfectly fine throw, especially because he's expecting to get that penalty. But I'm a little bit curious as to why he didn't look to Evans. He's isolated on a comeback route, I think.
Yep.
And he has plenty of space, right? Just pre-snap, just the way that looks pre-snap. I'm kind of surprised that he wouldn't
really down here.
Yeah,
at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, you don't think so?
It looks like the corner's slow pedaling, ready to break, in my opinion.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he threw with like maybe Evans could box him out. I just think he sees Brate running to space here, and he again, like, this is potential huge play if he doesn't get held. Like, if he can get past this guy, which I think he does if he doesn't get held. I was actually wondering about Godwin because this guy is sitting, but I'm not sure where that is in the progression. Maybe you know.
It would be after Brate.
Right. So maybe he just latches on here. Yeah, again, if he doesn't get grabbed, But
that's also a really difficult throw. If you look at it, like the outside deep third corner is playing way off as well. So he's kind of squeezing Godwin inside, and then obviously right over the middle is the free safety. So it's tough.
Yeah, frustrating one. Again, I thought there was 2 plays. We'll see the other one in the second half. And then obviously the big catch and run to Evans. Washington surrenders that one, so we won't bother to go through that one. They face mask them. They get the field goal, 16-6 going into the half. Bucs offense comes out. Second half, they get the ball. Great field position after the defense got a couple sacks, I think, or sack maybe. And they run the ball. Fournette. Not much. Running game really bottled down and got pretty ugly as the game went on. Okay, Brady from empty again. We've seen that a lot. Trying to recall which play this is now. Changing some things here.
Just looks like he's setting protections. Yeah.
Setting protections. Okay. He looked over Godwin. I wasn't sure.
Oh, he might have. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. Take snap. Trying to remember which play this is.
Oh, okay. I know
check down here.
This is so I've been wanting them to run this concept more this whole season. It's called stick nod. It's a counter to stick. So if you just go back a little bit right at the beginning of the play, right there, just stop there. Okay.
Yep.
So what they're trying to make it look like is the stick play that they run all the time. So where up top it's a go route, clear route. Fournette would be like a flat route, and then Brate here would be like, it's called a stick route. It's kind of it's an out route, but he can sit wherever he wants, and it's usually going to be a soft spot against a zone. And then what you do as a counter is you get this guy to sell Brate to sell an out and up, so he sells the out and then he goes up. You get a lot of teams the way they would do it. I don't think the Bucs do it here, but a lot of teams they would get Fournette on a return route, so he would go flat and then he'd come right back underneath, taking that space underneath where Brate would be clearing out from going up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Rams do this a lot. And I don't think Brate runs the best route here. And then also, I would like to see them come back to it. You see how Brate cuts inwards like a post route?
Yeah.
I would like that's nothing wrong by him. I'm sure that's the way it was designed. But I would like to see them see this on tape and be like, hey, if we actually got him to just run up the seam, he would actually be open right there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to the post. So that's the type of thing where it's like, I'd like to see that adjustment. You mentioned it on a different play earlier where it's like, okay, you see this, you come back to it. But anyway, either way, it works nicely with they end up going to Fournette here, but I don't see any reason not to get Fournette on a return route. Like he should be, there's no reason to send him out on a flat. Like get him to cut back in. Like
come back in.
Like how most teams would do on this play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talked about that did you talk about that in the offseason with me? How you wanted to see that happen? If I remember that.
Sure, I did. I talked about stick nod, definitely.
Yeah. I'm sure you said stick nod and you wanted to see these return, could they get some of these return routes going here? I agree that would be better. I don't really see anything else. I mean, the safety wants him to throw this sideline route. To
me, it looks like Tyler Johnson is unilaterally deciding to slow down. I have a hard time believing that it's designed this way because if you look at the spacing, he's never going to throw it there. Like that's just like an impossible throw.
Yeah.
Like Nate Tice actually talked about this on a play that was actually designed to be this way. And he was talking about how much he hates it because in terms of the QB's line of vision. So my guess is that Tyler Johnson's actually supposed to just run straight up the field and clear it out, but he sees it out, so he slows down. But it's like
still not going to happen, buddy.
It's just not going to happen with that spacing.
Okay, was that first down? No, second down. 3rd and 3 now. 3rd and 3. This might be the run to. This is Bernard running it 4 yard. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. This is the hold. This is where Brady. Okay, 2 holds on this play that are egregious in my opinion. Brady's over here. You'll see he gets held at the top of his route where Brady throws the football. Brady actually makes a split-second decision here because the Bucs blow the protection. Jonathan Allen, a defensive tackle, is coming screaming through the A gap at him, about to clobber him. He makes the right decision and throw here to Cam Brate, and Cam Brate is literally getting held. You can see it a little bit from this angle. You can see him looking for the call. But actually, the more egregious one is Jalen Darden, who literally just gets absolutely destroyed on this play by William Jackson. He gets tackled to the ground. Dude, I didn't notice it live either, but literally gets thrown on the ground. Already has his hands up.
So just Washington playing cover 1 here with no hole player. So there's no zone defender over the middle. That's how they have 5 guys rushing. And Bucs countering with a mesh concept, just those crossing routes, picking off against man. If you actually go back to the other angle, or even here, you can see Godwin fakes like he's about to step in the way of Brate's defender, like sticks a leg out, but then he sticks it right back in so he doesn't actually trip him.
Right.
He's trying to set a pick. And I was yelling
the hold
about
here. I just wanted to point out the hold.
The hold. I was yelling about it on the live stream because on the TV copy, they showed a replay where his arm is literally coming from behind and grabbing his shoulder pad right here in front of his body. Yeah,
the replay actually showed him you could see it clearly. It was like in the jersey. Again, like this is just, it's frustrating because this is a drive. This is midfield. You're near Washington territory. You're right at midfield. Then after that, it keeps going. That's the drive to start the half. It wasn't 2 bad plays before that. 3rd and 3 is not where you'd love to be. But again, you should be able to keep that drive going and see what happens. Again, officiating error definitely hurts the team. Don't be saying, oh, the refs this, like in the chat. We're pointing out the Bucs flaws, the coaches' flaws, the players' flaws, and the refs' flaws. Like, it's all of it. It's not one thing. It's not like, oh, if the refs gave them this call, they would have won the game. That's all we're saying. Right. People always jump to that. It drives me crazy. We got to be able to point out ref flaws without excusing team flaws, player flaws too. All matters.
I just want to point out, John, that was the 6th possession of the game, and this is how the possessions have gone so far. First possession ends debatably because of that Tyler Johnson lack of acceleration out of the out route. Second drive ends because of that Darden interception. Third drive, bad throw by Brady on that Evans interception. Mm-hmm. Fourth drive, it's that Geo drop near the end zone, but they move the ball down the field and they get a field goal. Fifth drive, they barely have any time at the end of the half, but they end up with a field goal. Sixth drive is this one with a penalty. My point being, this is like you said at the beginning of the show. Like, so far at least, there's no one guy to point to. It's just been like different people making different mistakes, and this is just the way it goes, right? Like if one guy screws up after another, there's no one person to point out right now. Like, yeah.
I agree. It's a team game, and somebody just said it in the chat, and I think they're spot on. Like, it is what it is. But we'll see some things by Brady as we move forward here in a second. But first, got to shout out our friends at Spotify Green Room. If you like us getting into some of the nitty gritties of this, you'll like us on Spotify Green Room as well. We talk music, sports, and culture live. You can download it on the App Store, get it on Google Play. Spotify Green Room, man. You can join the conversation. You can take the mic. You can give your perspective on a lot of these things. And if you like the hat that I'm wearing tonight, you could check out livinggolflife.com because they've got all the best golf apparel, and they got hats, they got koozies, they got glasses, they got all kinds of stuff at livinggolflife.com. There's a couple of guys that believe that, golfing really is a lifestyle, getting out on the course. They love to do it. It's their favorite thing. So they decided to make a brand, a company after Living Golf Life. And so some of the stuff they have is really neat, and they're coming out with new stuff as well. And you can check that out at Living Golf Life on Instagram as well. Some fun stuff with our guys over at Living Golf Life. Mike and Jim do some great stuff over there. So make sure you check that out, and they're giving those guys their product and opportunity, especially with the holidays coming up and a chance to get some cool gifts for people as well. Okay, let's get back into the tape here. We are going a little bit long on this show. We don't have that many more plays to go through. But it was always going to be a longer show with us taking some time to break down some of this stuff. There's a great run after the catch by Chris Godwin, but it's a design play, so we won't go into a lot of depth about that one. This was an awesome effort by Godwin here, breaking some tackles, spinning off a tackle. Okay, so we've got, guess what happens, Paul? Play action. Look what happens. The middle of the field where you haven't been able to throw all game is wide open.
Yeah.
Washington actually blows the coverage. We talked about this play a little bit before we went live. Washington blows the coverage on this one. Both these guys go with O.J. Howard, and nobody goes with Fournette. I think Brady actually might want to go to Evans here, but he kind of right in his line of vision, probably just sees both these guys turn and run and realizes he has this easy throw to Fournette who can get to where Evans is without having to throw the ball down the field. So
the way I saw it, John, and like I mentioned before, is
yeah,
right as soon as he turns his head after the play fake, Brady, first thing he looks at is the middle of the field to see the safeties. He's going to snap his head right there, right there.
Yep.
He sees 31, this safety. The way this looks is that this safety is capping this dig route from Evans. Like from where he is, like just based on the position, looks like it's not open. But credit to Evans, he does this a lot. He runs such quarterback-friendly routes. He changes his route. What he does is not designed. He's designed to just come across the field. Instead, he stops and comes down. He comes back towards Brady, and that's how he gets open. So if you're looking at this and wondering why doesn't Brady go there, well, the only blame you can put there is, hey, maybe he should expect Evans to change his route. But in terms of just the actual play versus the coverage, it makes perfect sense as to why he doesn't go there.
I agree with you, but I think if they don't blow the coverage on Fournette, he will go here. Okay. I think he hangs on to it. I mean, he's looking. I think he's hanging in. Like he was willing to throw this one as he sees the safety drop out. I think he just sees right in his line of vision that they blew this coverage, and he's like, "Oh, this is I'm taking this." That's what I think. But
either reason seems valid to me.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, team blows the coverage that badly, you're never going to get ripped on for getting the ball.
But I'm pointing that out to set up in the future where the one where it is his fault. Like I'm saying, this one I can get why he doesn't go to Evans there because that free safety is capping it. But there are a couple that you sent me earlier today where there's no excuse.
Right. Quick hitter, Godwin, good gain there. Gets about 2 yards or a yard short of the first, second, and 2 now. I think they run it here. No, play action. Oh, this is the bluff pass. They scored on this with Gronkowski in week 1, right?
I was going to – I had that written down. I was like, I'm going to sound smart and point out that it's
Yeah, we didn't even talk about this play ahead of time.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Play action.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Great block here by Cam Brate for selling it.
Yeah.
Just like it was DeMarcus Lawrence, I believe, who did it with Gronkowski.
He's so patient with it.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Look at what play action does to everybody, including a cornerback in the red zone rolled up. Like, look at his feet. Look at him attacking, ready to come upfield. And all of a sudden, a tight end's beating him down the seam, and it's an easy touchdown. Yeah. It just works, man. And the Bucs ran 7 play action passes in this game, Paul. 7 play action passes.
And what did the Bills do, John? 17, I think.
17, highest percentage in the game season. Yeah. Put up 305 passing yards just off play action.
Yeah, 300 yards on 17 passes sounds pretty good to me.
I'll take that. Yeah, I think that sounds like a good day. Yeah, it's a great the play action stuff. I mean, it was how they beat Washington last time, and the fact that they don't use it. Everything's harder for Brady because they don't do it. Everything's harder for him. Here's the holding penalty. I'd actually like to point out because I know people were getting on Marpet for this play. I said it on the broadcast, and he was. I thought he was tripped. Donovan Smith steps on his foot, and that's why he gets knocked over here. Creates the hold. You can see it there. Donovan Smith stepping on his foot. He falls as a result, and I don't even know if it's a hold, to be honest. The guy just falls on top of him. I don't even know if he drags him. Maybe he does drag him down. I can see the hand right there. I guess it is. Good call. But either way, Brady's about to get destroyed here. Gets it to 4 now. This play didn't end up counting, obviously, because it's 1st and 20 now. Okay, this is my word start getting sticky. Now, this is, keep in mind, I believe their second to last drive of this football game.
Okay, and this is, from here on out, is what I have not seen yet.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So be patient with Paul as he checks out these last few plays. But, okay, so we have the touchdown to Brate on the last drive. That was their only drive, the touchdown to Brate. Am I seeing that right? Okay, they had this is wrong. That's wrong. That's the score. Okay, they had 2 drives in the third quarter, right? 2 drives in the third quarter, I believe. Yeah, they had the one that's the 3-play drive that started that should have ended with the Brate play that was that it should have been a hold, was not called. Then they had a 43-yard touchdown drive, and then they had then Washington scored, and so now the Bucs are down 23-13 in this situation. So they had 3 drives in the third quarter. This is the end of the third quarter right now. This drive is taking place, the last couple minutes of the third quarter. Okay, so Brady's protection does get leaky here, I'll point out. But what did you see on this play, Paul?
I'm just trying to see it right now.
Oh, wait, you haven't seen from this point on. I'm sorry.
Okay, so they're doing this drop 8 again. So it's allowing them. So because the Bucs don't have a Godwin in the number 3 spot, they don't need to bracket him. Instead, what it lets them do is they can close the middle of the field while playing 2 safeties.
Right.
So they're just taking away everything over the
and
middle.
This is a safety, by the way. This is 3 safeties that they're playing in this situation.
Right. So they're able to take away the deep intermediate middle of the field the way that you normally would with a single high safety, while also having that outside support. So they're just forcing you to check it down with this coverage.
Yep.
Because otherwise,
this is just tough because there's no line of vision to this guy. There's nothing here with him trying to jump this. Evans.
Otherwise, if they were rushing 4, John, and playing a normal cover 2 or something like that, this safety that's right in front of Bray, he wouldn't be there. And this concept would work just like, I think it's some sort of double post sit or double dig, something like that over the middle. This would work against like normal 2 high zones.
Right. Bray would be open, right?
Yeah. So good adjustment by Washington because they know Brady's not going to run with the ball. So that's why they're able to just rush 3.
Right. And the fact that they leak through with 3 is pretty bad in this situation. I actually think Alex Kappa makes this harder for Tristan Wirfs when he comes across. He pushes the defender actually through Tristan Wirfs. Sometimes that extra help doesn't end up helping here. Wirfs, I don't think, gave up anything all game that was credited to him. I mean, he was phenomenal. So Brady ends up throwing Fournette, not much there on first down. Again, just pretty good design by Washington, more than anything on that play. You win some, you lose some. It was frustrating, but I think they took away what Tampa Bay was looking for there pretty perfectly, as you could see. Okay, I'm trying to remember some of these plays now as we see them. This one, Brady rips it middle of the field. Now, this defender's dropping out. This throw, to me, I think he sees his back turn and he just says, you know what, I'm making this throw. But that middle, I mean, that linebacker is dropping out into the middle of the field to try and take away this throw. He just doesn't get over in time, I think.
Yeah, so this is, if I'm seeing this right, this is like a part of their 989 go tree. Instead, the variation here is instead of having the go routes from the outside players, they have these deep out routes. Yeah. And what Godwin, he normally has that crosser or post. This variation that he's running right here, it's called a buck route. And basically, he's meant to do this anytime he sees like a Tampa 2 type defense. He's meant to carry that middle field player up and then sit down. So you don't see this too often because teams don't play this coverage too often, but Godwin recognized it. It's tricky because this linebacker kind of trails him almost, right? Normally what would happen is this linebacker would get on top of Godwin, and then Godwin would carry him upfield and then cut back. It's tricky because this guy's kind of undercutting him.
Yeah.
So, but it's there. When he lets the ball go, I think it's a little bit more to the – is this caught?
It's caught, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Then nothing to say. I was going to say –
here's the throw from the other angle if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, yeah. It's like
he just fit it in. Pretty tight window with the linebacker closing, but I think he saw the linebacker's back turn and he saw the distance and he just said, I can fit this in.
I'm not sure if the linebacker meant to trail him trail's not even the right word. But
I'm not sure either. I feel like normally he'd get more vertical with them right off the bat there, and it just didn't happen.
You could make it a lot easier to complete that pass.
right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all what happened there. Okay, Fournette or Bernard run. I don't even remember. Oh, that was the 3rd and 3, and they got it. 4-yard run, I think. Good run by Bernard again, by the way. Lean through. I'm just gonna point that out there. He's running pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, here's play action again, and now this starts to get to some of these ones that I think I didn't really like or understand from Brady. Like here, he's going quickly to Fournette. I don't understand why. Like this is. Godwin is wide open down the field within the progression here. Fournette is not open. If he can break this tackle, sure, it's great. And if there's nothing else, I get it. But there is, and it's pretty obvious to me. I'm a little bit confused by this one, Paul.
I'm just going to try seeing it on my end so I can see it a little more clearly what the route concept is. Okay, I see this. There's a little deep turn concept. Yeah. Does he even look? Where does he go right away? It actually looks like first of all, really weird footwork. I've seen them do this a lot. I don't know why. It actually looks like Fournette is his number 3 here. So it looks like he decides to read the 2 tight end side, doesn't like it, and then sees Fournette open and then checks it down. So this is more understandable to me than say if had he started on the Godwin Evans side, then this would be egregious. You know what I mean? But because
but Fournette's not really open to me. Like, I mean, this guy is here, like his defender's here. When you're throwing these routes, they're never going to be like in their hip pocket. I don't know, like in this situation, why he feels like this is open is my thing. I don't know. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I just would move on and find the guy that's right in your line of sight further down the field.
He is horizontally like uncapped, right? Like he's got the horizontal, he's beat him horizontally in my opinion, but the throw is not perfect. So Fournette does this little jump thing and slows down.
I mean, it's pretty perfect, but Fournette just jumps, I think, because he's not confident in his hands. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. It might have been a touch high, but even so, I just don't. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I guess it just, to me, like once he has time, like I just don't think situation, like you're down 10, you need this drive, like you need to be looking for some of these chunk plays, and this is a beautifully clean pocket. I just feel like you could say, okay, is there something? I don't know. To me, I just feel like reading this out is pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Once this guy sits, I mean,
my issue is more so with the design. They love this deep curl off of play action, and I get that it helps your pass protection, but I'd way rather almost always have something attacking the middle of the field off of play action. Like imagine, like Godwin is designed to sit here, but imagine if he just crossed the field, right? Like if this is a dagger type concept or a deep cross, Y cross, something like that. Like why do these deep curls, right? Like the only benefit you get is the pass protection off play action, but you're not actually taking advantage of what play action does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you mean because it's not like they're not taking advantage of displaced players.
Exactly. Yeah. Because these corners, they don't give a shit that it's play. I'm honest. I don't know if I should say that. Sorry, but
no, you can. It's fine. It's not said way worse.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care that it's play action. So you're not doing anything with it other than pass protection. But anyway, I could be wrong though. Like you could definitely convince me that Brady's making a bad decision.
Yeah. I don't think it's the worst. I just think there's better to the game situation. I just would be looking for some of these plays that you can hit down the field. I mean, you've just, I would just be looking for some of them. I just don't feel like especially if it's different. If I feel like Fournette's open, like if they have, we've seen a couple times where like it's open, like it's there. And I just didn't feel like that was really there. I don't know, but here's was a quick hitter to Godwin. Fournette blew the block on this one. Tough block, though. I'm not going to hate him for it. Okay, back to pass again with Brady. This one, they give up pressure. Evans is not open. I think he gets held at the top of this route. He thought he got held. It's hard to tell from the All-22. We never got a replay of it. I don't think anyone's open on this play, man.
You can argue Tyler Johnson comes open. Like, again, they're just running dagger, but what happens?
Brady's already flushed off his spot by that point. Like, pressure's already pushed him out of the pocket.
And I think
then he gets his arm hit.
But I think just from a process standpoint, the reason he's not looking there is the first thing that happens at the snap is that safety comes down and they rotate into single high. Mm-hmm. And dagger, you're not looking for single high, really. You're looking for two high. And that's why right away he goes to the isolated side with Evans.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, nothing matters when he just doesn't have it.
I think he really wants to throw this to Evans, but the pressure right here and Evans getting, I don't know, contact or something at the top of the route there. I'm not sure what there was to do on this play. Protection needs to hold up maybe a little bit better. I think it was Kappa again. You'll see it from this angle.
They're sending 5. That's why this coverage is a bit weaker than it should be. I was confused. I was like, why is Tyler Johnson so open here? But yeah, it's because they're sending a blitz off of this.
Yeah. Got his arm hit as he threw. So yeah, just kind of not good execution by the group as a whole there. Okay, now we've got this is the last 3 offensive plays of the game that matter. We're not looking at the final 2 runs by Fournette. This was the beginning of the 4th quarter. So after the fumble, you're like feeling all good. Okay, here's the first down play. And I didn't like this play action. And again, this is a totally clean pocket. His mechanics are completely clean. Like, it is the dumbest thing in the world to me to say, like, because he got hit by whoever in the third play of the game, that he checks this down to Fournette because of that. It just makes no sense. But Evans is just wide open further down the field. And I just feel, again, like this point in the game, you're looking for those chunk plays. This is just not open to me. Fournette is just not open on this play at all to me on this outbreaker, this corner sitting. And Brady has a perfectly clean pocket, can absolutely make this throw. I know what you're going to say. The middle of the field's closed here, but
no, it's not.
It's not. I mean, you have a middle field defender here.
No, but I mean, he's not even. I don't think he's close enough, and it's also the way
he's not close enough, right? That's my point.
This is the first one where I think Brady straight up like made like a really bad decision. Whereas the other ones, it's like, okay, the interception was a bad throw, not a bad decision. Some of the other ones, I'm like, okay, I get it, even though he could be better. This is the one where I'm like, there's no excuse, and I'm with you. This has nothing to do with getting hit. This is just sometimes.
Yeah, he's not jittery. He's not panicking. He's not afraid of getting hit on this play. Like he's making this throw rather than this throw, and he shouldn't on this play. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you get the linebackers to come down so that you can hit this dig against play action. Also, it's pretty cool what they've got going on here. They've got OJ Howard coming on this wheel route from across the field.
Yep. This is something they actually have done a decent amount with Arians in the past, but they didn't really do it much last year.
It's the problem is it's really slow developing. It's like you're trying to run leak, right? It's the common concept.
Right. It's very similar to leak.
It does a good job of displacing 55. I think that is that linebacker over the middle. Yeah. So first you're trying to get him to come down with play action. Then when he comes down, he goes with OJ, and then Evans wide open. And again, look at how Evans runs this route. It's so quarterback friendly. He just comes down on it instead of just running his dig, instead of just going straight into that free safety. Yeah, Brady has to hit this, and he has to know that Evans is doing that too. Like if it is by any chance he's just thinking it's a free safety there, he has to know better by this point with Evans, right?
Right.
So this is the first one where I'm like, okay, no, that's straight up bad. Whereas the other ones, I'm like, there's some room for interpretation.
Yeah. So he missed one there, I think, and then come back in the next play. Remember, that was first down. This is second down. And again, I just don't get it. Like, this is not open. Your pocket is completely clean. This isn't a jittery thing. This isn't a mechanics thing. This isn't like him falling apart in the pocket. Like, as we see on the very next play, he makes a throw down the field. But like, I don't understand this. This is not open. This is open. This is open. And I'm not even talking progression. So I'm just saying, like, this guy isn't open. Like, no matter where he is in the progression, like, I just don't understand throwing the ball here, because you literally, this is exactly what the defense wants you to do. Like, at some point, you got to make him pay for that.
Yeah, you're running.
Yeah, I know you don't like the route distribution on this one. I don't disagree. I just would hit Evans on this post for sure.
Well, I mean, I think just he's reading the left side of the field. He's trying to. So if he's got to hit OJ, basically, in my opinion, more so than Evans, given that he's reading the side of the field, because he's not going to work to. This is again another pick.
He's not going to pass up OJ to get to Evans, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So you're going to read
because
this
he's open too, right?
You're going to read this OJ to break to Leonard, but he just skips it, and he just kind of goes to Leonard right away.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to.
I don't even understand. Like, there's nothing.
OJ. The thing is, OJ's not necessarily actually going to be open until that linebacker sees Brady throwing the ball. But
where? I mean, he's open here. Oh, you mean this guy?
Sorry, I wasn't looking at your screen. Show me again.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are you talking about this guy?
That guy, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he has him leveraged, breaking the inside of the field. This guy's just not making a play on the ball here. I don't.
But also, yeah, like from a design standpoint, like why not put that running back on Evans and Godwin's side so that they're the trip side and he can read that side out first? Like, why are you making the strong side?
This is what I kind of start saying. Like, yes, Brady should have made difference, but why is Evans not in your progression? Like, this is clutch time, baby. Like, and again, we've seen how many examples of plays. There's only like 25 pass plays in this game that are non, like they're undesigned, like where they're not designed throws that got screens or something like that. Like, and I don't understand why Evans is backside on what, 5, 6, 7 of them so far in this one, that he's not even supposed to be part of the primary progression. The ball is unlikely to go. And I get using him as a decoy, but they're like, oh, Evans is always doubled. No, he's not doubled. We've seen a ton of plays where he's singled.
Yeah.
And in this play, he's running free. I don't get it at all. It makes no sense.
This is basically, John, 4 verticals, and 4 verticals against 2 high defenses. Most of the time, it's going to go to the check down. But why not make that check down on the side so he can read your best players, right? Evans and Godwin are your best players.
Yeah.
Make them the primary read. This, just by design almost, is making them the backside and making OJ and Brait the primary read because of that reason. Like, I think that's the reason, by the way, that he does read this side instead of the other one. It's because he knows it's too high. He knows it's likely going to have to go to the check down, but then put the check down on the other side.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good call, but I still feel like move on there if you're Brady. And again, to me, it's like I get throwing the check down if the check down's open and nobody else is. But to me,
I mean,
like, I just feel
like he can just try to rip this to OJ. Like, he doesn't have to, like, not even like, like I think he could just throw this to OJ. Yeah. Like, I get why he's like, the reason I'm not harping on the Evans thing is because I get why he's not reading that side of the field, but still, he can throw this to OJ.
Right. And then the next play, I mean, neither of those 2 plays hurt him. They were probably his worst 2 plays, in my opinion, but neither of those plays hurt him because the next play he throws to Evans for the touchdown and it's easy. They score. And then they didn't get the ball back because the defense sucks. We don't have time for that on today's podcast, but that was it. That was the whole thing. You saw everything. And so I think you got a great look at it from the All-22 perspective there. And we're able to were able to show you, I think, like, as much as we can, what they look like in the game, like from the view of the coverage and everything. And you can see, hopefully people got an understanding from that, Paul, that it is just not simple enough. But if there's one thing I could teach every football fan, it's not simple enough to blame one player almost all the time. And yes, there's situations with bad quarterbacks or bad coaches, like an Adam Gase type, where it was going to be his fault a lot of the time. And there was a pattern that developed. But when you have a great player and a team and an offense that is leading the NFL in almost every category, and they go out and they have a horrible game, it is very rarely going to be just because one player was horrible. Like, it's going to be a multitude of factors because this is a great group pretty much across the board. And so, like, there's going to be more than one thing that went wrong. You can see coaching criticisms. You can see Brady criticisms at times. It certainly was no tragic game by anyone. But when you have very limited opportunities in a game, they have 48 offensive plays, Paul, and the last 2 I don't even count. So, 46 offensive plays in this game, basically. That is by far the lowest this season, the second lowest since Brady joined the Bucs. The only lower one was the Saints debacle from last year, which they turned the ball over like 5 times. So that just shows you this game, like, how ridiculous it was. There's officiating problems. There's Brady problems in this game. There's coaching problems in this game. There's 4 or 5 drops in there that should have been caught. It all culminates. It's a team effort. Blaming any one person is just silly. We don't have to do it. You don't have to give in to the quick button narratives. Like, you can join the resistance with Paul and I and see the layers of analysis that go into this.
And to add on, I think my least favorite, like, the people that try to take it a step further and look at the film or the replays on TV copy, my least favorite thing on Twitter is screenshot analysis, where you just take a screenshot and you go, that guy's wide open. Why didn't he throw it there? It's like, you have to understand actually the design, what's going on from a progression standpoint, because you can't see everybody at the same time. Like, they're, and that's not an excuse for that last one. I think that last one, OJ or Evans, it has to go there. That's not what I'm talking about. More like the one earlier in the game where Evans is on the fade. Like, you got to, like, take it a step further and really try to see what's going on. Like, it's not just he's scared, he's throwing checkdowns, or he's just not seeing people. Like, try to understand from a process standpoint, because, like, I think when you look at it in that process way, I think we can agree Brady had some bad plays. But I don't think he had a terrible game.
Right. And fans can do what they want. I'm not trying to criticize fans for reacting and feeling the way they do. I want to be clear. Like, fans they can believe it's jitters if they want. Again, like, I'm just trying to say, like, I think there's a way to sound more intelligent to your friends, or the water cooler talk, or, if that's a desire. If it's not, that's fine, whatever. But mainly for media and analysts, like, I wish we attached ourselves to, like, I wish we fought a little bit harder to find the truth in these things before we attached ourselves to narratives like that. And honestly, even coaches say those kind of things at times too. Like, and sometimes they say them to the media just to give them a line. I think they're not going to go into X's and O's of it. But yeah, I just wish we got a little bit deeper at times, because I think that part of it's pretty silly. Like, clearly Brady is not rattled on those throws. He's just making those decisions. I just think that a couple of those decisions later in the game could have been better ones for sure. So I think
like I think a lot of times this happens a lot, is when you look at things from a play-by-play standpoint, it's usually not like one thing is so egregious, right? Or like that a play call is so bad or anything like that. And this is actually most pertinent to the coaches. Like, I think when we went through the plays, I don't think we saw a single play where we were like, why would you call it? Like, we were talking about that check down thing, but that's a pretty small thing, right? There's nothing like egregiously bad. It's when you step back and look at things from a more macro perspective, like their running frequencies, their lack of play action, their over reliance on screen passes against too high coverages, like that type of stuff overall adds up, right? Like, I don't have an issue with any single run call, but that just an example. That's the type of thing that in the long run adds up and matters a lot.
Right. I agree with you completely. I think it's a good point. I would like to point out the protection was bad early in this game, bad in the first half. For the most, it was better in the second half. There were definitely a breakdown or two. So few plays. Washington did a great job with their blitz schemes. I thought they had a couple really creative ones. So few just so few plays in this game. Washington possessed the ball for almost 40 minutes of this game. That is unbelievable. That's a huge part of this, man. Most games you get 10, 15 more play. I mean, 15, most games you get 15. Even if you lose, you get 15, 20 more plays to make things happen offensively, to make corrections, to get it right, to make up for 4 or 5 drops. That's why we harp on them so much, though, when they happen, is because those drops change games. You don't always get 70 plays, Paul, to make like the right thing happen. So it went in a game when you win and you drop 4 or 5 passes and nobody wants to talk about it, and we want to talk about it. It's because those plays still matter, even if because as part of the process, because in that game they may not have mattered, but they will matter in another game where you don't have as many opportunities to make up for the mistakes that you made. I think back to the Dallas game, beginning of the season, how many drops in that game, how many catch drops, we saw, Leonard, same thing with the Darden, and now Brady's got 7 picks this season and 4 of them are just straight up not his fault. But you have the media throwing around the 7 pick thing, which is not even a lot of picks, by the way. We should mention that. But that's part of the whole thing, right? Is that like all of this stuff matters. If you're not catching the ball clean, this game it might just be a drop. Another game it's going to be an interception, and that changes whole game. I mean, that changed the whole game when that happened. And all part of it's Darden, and he's a rookie. But anyway, there's just lots of layers to it, is what I want people to see more than anything. And if you don't want to see it, that's fine. I get it. Fans can react how they do, but hopefully as a media, I just wanted us to the standard to be higher. And that's why I really wanted to do this tonight. And I appreciate you taking the time, man. Like the scheme, you've studied the scheme and the playbook of Arians way more than I even had. So it's helpful to hear you talk about like how some of these concepts should be worked out, in terms of the quarterback's perspective. That's why I really needed you on this show, to make sure that I understood those things really well. So good stuff. We appreciate everybody jumping in here, Alien and Terrence and everybody. I mean, the comments are great, and hopefully the interaction is great as well. I know some people probably think we're crazy with some of the stuff we say on this, but here's some good news. Some good news here is that the 49ers are up on the Rams 21-7 at halftime, and Matt Stafford's thrown 2 picks. I don't know who is going to get it together in the NFL right now. Pretty much every fan base looking at their team right now and being like, wow, in the last 2 weeks is like, yeah, this team doesn't look for real or whatever. Everything's still there for the Bucs, no question. But the way they're playing right now, I consider the other teams in the NFC, the other top 4 teams ahead of them, the way they're playing right now. But the best part is the Bucs have control over a lot of the stuff that ails them. You can see from this tape, Washington did some good things. They were not unbeatable. It was not an unbeatable performance.
It's hard to overcome those 2 turnovers early in the game, right? I know it sounds dumb to say outside of that, the offense wasn't bad, but like those 2 mistakes are bad enough that it's like almost impossible to overcome it offensively, right? Obviously there are issues on defense, but in terms of why they only put up 19 points, I think you can point to those 2 mistakes more than anything.
Right. Yeah. We appreciate the $20 super chat a lot. Buck 97.55. I know that was a little bit skippy on there. But that's kind of how I was trying to show the play too. We are looking into some process of maybe getting some better software to be able to show you guys plays a little bit cleaner when we do these shows. But I think you still, with the way we did it, you got a pretty good view of some of them as well. So definitely appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all jumping in. It's fun. We'll be back on Wednesday for the preview of the next Bucs game, which is on Monday night against the Giants. We'll be back on Wednesday for that one. So Scott and myself will be back for that show. We'll look into that one in depth. And then Thursday we'll be back as well with more analysis on the Pewter Report podcast. So as always, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for tuning in and jumping on here for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.